Hello, this is the week 5 in-class video for Composition 2. As always, the course that you see in front of you might not be the course you're enrolled in, but the principles will still apply. In this video, I'll talk about what a controversy is, what it means to map a controversy. We'll look at the SA2 assignment sheet and an assignment called the JCKL Scavenger Hunt. I'll also look ahead at the after-class activities for this week. So before we can map a controversy, we have to figure out what a controversy is. Excuse me. So there are 3 things we want to make sure that we have, or that an event has, in order to be considered a controversy. So the first is that it is arguable, and that means it's not just a fact, right? But it's something that has 2 or more sides. And to tell you the truth, the more sides, the better when it comes to the mapping a controversy paper. It is also public, so it's not just a private discussion about who didn't clean up after themselves in the kitchen, right? But something that many people care about and that are affected by. And finally, we want to make sure it's current. And I'll talk a little bit more on the next slide about what that means in terms of currency. So a controversy is arguable, it is public, and it is current. Some other important terms to think about when we're thinking about mapping a controversy is first stakeholders, and those are the people who are directly affected by the controversy. And they are directly affected because they have interests in the outcome or stakes in the outcome, therefore stakeholders. So if I had lost my house, I would be a stakeholder in the housing crisis because I was directly affected by it. However, as a citizen of the United States, I might have a value or belief that all people should live in a home and have access to home owning. So while I might not be directly involved as a stakeholder, I might have an opinion on it. But really what we want to look for are those people who are directly influenced or affected by the controversy, because they are the ones who, again, have something to say about it. In terms of types of controversies, on the last slide I mentioned it should be current. Our controversy should be current or recent. So an example of a past controversy would be something like, should the U.S. allow gay marriage? Well, that controversy has already been solved, right? So it is an example of a past controversy that used to be a recent controversy. Ongoing controversies are large, right? They keep coming back. And one of them that I think of is the idea of free speech, right? And we're always sort of arguing over what it means and how it should be applied. And I'll give an example here in a little bit of an ongoing controversy that turned into a recent controversy. And a recent controversy, of course, is one that is ongoing in terms of it's not ongoing in terms of it's always going on, but sorry, that it's happening right now. And that's what I mean by ongoing, in the sense that we want to think about exigency. Exigency is an event that precipitated an argument that caused it to start. So actually, let me get to my example, and this all might start to make more sense, and then we'll come back to these terms. All right, so like I said, an example of an ongoing controversy is the idea of free speech and how it should be applied. Now, a couple years ago, Colin Kaepernick made this into a recent controversy by deciding to start kneeling during the national anthem. And of course, that created a controversy over whether or not football players or athletes in general should be allowed to do that. So in class today, we brainstormed some viewpoints on this controversy. So one side might say that what he's doing is disrespecting the flag in our country. And I would say, even we need one more viewpoint in here, and that's Kaepernick's, right? In terms of why he started doing it in the first place. Some people might agree with him and that he should be bringing attention to police brutality, or that that's a good way of doing that. So that goes along with the first point. Some people might say, it's great that he wants to express his freedom of speech, but maybe there's a better way he could do that. Some people might say, actually, athletes should stick to what they know best, and that's, football in this case, and should stay out of politics. Someone else might say, actually, athletes are role models and so they should stand up for what they believe in. Sort of along the lines of that ESPYs video we watched at the beginning of the semester. And these are just a few examples of viewpoints or points on the map of this controversy. So, and I'm sure you guys can think of one or two more. What I would like you students that are watching this video to do in order to earn points for in-class activities this week is to fill out the form that I've attached in my email, and the answer that I would like you to fill in is, what is one more point on this map in terms of a point of view on Kaepernick's protest that we haven't thought of yet? So what is another point that we can put on that map? So that's the idea of where mapping a controversy comes out. We're explaining to our readers what a controversy is, or what the controversy is specifically, and then mapping out the various viewpoints on that controversy. All right, and so we're informing our readers in this essay. Speaking of, let's take a look at the Essay 2 assignment sheet. So back over here in the Week 5 in-class materials folder, I put a link to the Essay 2 assignment sheet. It really just takes us to the Essay Need to Know folder where that assignment sheet lives. Now, I started in class by looking at the details of the assignment before we started talking about deadlines. So just as the packet and this video talks about, controversies have to meet certain requirements. And for this essay, we want to show all the sides of that controversy. So it's a big no-no to only show one side in this paper, right? We want to make sure that we're showing as many as we can find. And when we do so, we want to make sure an attribute or give attribution to those people so that our readers know who has that point of view. All right, so we want to make sure we're using strong signal phrases to let our reader know. As you're writing, keep in mind that your audience is someone who is concerned and interested, but not particularly informed. So we're teaching them, hey, here's a recent controversy and here are all the sides to it. You want to look for something that people are debating right now, right? Like I said, we want it to be current. I'm also asking students to look for controversies with lots of possibilities, because the more sides there are, the more we're going to have to write about, and the better than just having, this is pro or con. We want to look for something more complicated than that. The other note I have here is that it's easier if you pick a topic you can be open-minded about. So what I mean by that is try to pick a topic that you have interest in, but that you haven't already made up your mind about which side is correct, because that will help you in terms of presenting all the sides equally. But also, part of my intention with this assignment is to get you guys to think about all sides of an argument before you actually decide on which one is right. Because that's what we're going to do for Essay 3. So you're going to continue the same topic you decide on for Essay 2, but in Essay 3, you're going to actually choose one of the sides and argue for that side and persuade that that side is correct. But at this point, for Essay 2, we're just letting our readers know what all those sides are. Specifically, you also want to sketch out the context of your controversy. So, for example, if I was writing my paper on the Kaepernick controversy, I would have a paragraph in there talking about what he did, the first time he did it and why, before I go into all the different sides of it. Again, we want to show as many positions as we can, right, to show our map. At the end, we want to think about, how do those points fit together? Where is there overlap? Where is there no overlap? And what does that mean for our readers? Excuse me. We want to have at least 3 sources. You'll probably have more. Okay, at least 2 of those should be viewpoint sources. So basically, it's going to approximate 1 viewpoint source per viewpoint, right? So you're going to say, here's what so-and-so said. That's their viewpoint. Another viewpoint is this, according to X. So I threw in an extra one in there. Like I said, if you want to have context, that's fine to use a source for that. But for the most part, our sources are going to reflect the various viewpoints. This is a little similar to Essay 1 in terms of we're analyzing people's viewpoints. At this point, we're still not taking a side. Okay, but informing our reader of all of the sides. The final draft should be 4 pages, so that's just a little bit longer than essay 1, which I believe I listed 3 to 4 pages, so about the same, a little bit longer. But we should still be working on MLA and all that stuff. So let me go up here to the top of the assignment sheet where all the deadlines are listed. I actually left one off, and that's the plan page, which I'll look at here in a moment, and that's due at the same time as the topic proposal, but should be completed before the topic proposal, and I'll look at those. Our second draft is going to be for peer review for this unit instead of for tutorials. So you'll turn in a second draft. We'll work on peer reviews and let's see, this is week 6, 7. We'll be doing peer reviews in week 7. I'm also offering conditional tutorials, and that means if you earned less than 75% on essay 1, you have to meet with me in a tutorial for essay 2. If you scored above that, you may sign up for a tutorial, but you are not required to do so. For that, you're going to turn in a third draft and write a final draft based on my feedback for February 28th. If you don't have a tutorial, you'll just skip from the revision plan to the final draft. You won't have that third draft in the middle. The last thing I want to look at here on the assignment sheet is our portfolio checklist, which at this point in week 5, you should have through the essay 1 rhetorical reflection already in there. We're just adding documents to it for unit 2. And again, the essay 2 revision plan should be on this list, and I left it off. Let's take a look at that assignment now in the after class folder for this week. So the essay 2 plan page is designed to help you get ideas for what you can write about in your controversy. So 1 or 2 of you may already have something that you're super ready to write about, but odds are most of you don't really have any ideas, or maybe have general ideas. So this plan page is designed to help you to narrow that down. So the first step is to reread the Mapping a Controversy packet. The second step is to pick 2 of these 4 strategies for coming up with ideas. So they're all 4 of them are designed to help you look at larger themes and then sort of ideas about ways that we can narrow that down. So just like the Colin Kaepernick controversy falls under, the idea of freedom of speech, what are some things that are happening now, right, that we can maybe write about for essay 2? Once we've done that and maybe have some ideas percolating, we'll start a new document called Last Name E2 Plan Page. And then I would like you to brainstorm 2 or 3 controversies. So I want you to have some choices to work on at this point. Now, brainstorming looks different for everyone. So if you like to handwrite, that's fine. Just take a picture of it and put it into this document. If you like to do drawing, same thing. If you'd like to type it out, that's also fine. If it's typed, I'd like it to be about a half page or so. If it's not typed, somewhat equivalent. So I'm wanting to see you put plenty of work and effort into developing 2 or 3 controversies. And once you've done that, I want you to list 1 research question per controversy. So if you have 2 controversies, list 2 questions. And of course, the packet will help you with that, but that's your research question that you're going to research. So with the Kaepernick example, what are the various viewpoints on whether or not Colin Kaepernick should have kneeled during the national anthem, or whether or not athletes should kneel during the national anthem? Okay, so again, you should do this before you do the topic proposal, which is basically just letting me know out of those 2 or 3 that you thought of, which one would you like to pursue? So this will help me, of course, so I know what you're doing, but also to help you make sure you're choosing a good topic that will be fruitful for you. And if not, we can always go back to the plan page and hopefully find a backup if the one you chose doesn't work. The last thing I want to talk about, I'm running out of time, is in the in-class materials folder under other assignments. It's called the JCKL Scavenger Hunt. It's actually due at the end of week 6, but I wanted to get it on your guys' radar. Next week, we're going to be looking at finding and evaluating sources. So this assignment is designed to help you familiarize yourself with the library's website and how to find things on it, because that's what we're working on in Unit 2, in addition to what we've already started working on in Unit 1 in terms of using the sources. Now we're going to start talking about finding sources. We'll talk about that more next week when we talk about finding evidence. Shoot me an email if you have any questions, and I'll see you next week.